Hi, people. Welcome to the Steve and Mark Discuss podcast. This podcast now, I'm doing the role of the anchor. I'll be introducing Mark with his topic of discussion. Um, what his topic is, I haven't got a clue. Not at the moment. I might not have a clue at the end either. You never know. Depends what it is, and uh, and we'll see what happens. Okay. So without any further ado, take it away, Mark.
Yes, Steve. I think you will probably have quite a few opinions about this one, knowing you. And it's something I've read a little bit about and been looking at. And yeah, obviously, this is a discussion, a philosophical discussion. My discussion is with today's technology, our own abilities to actually communicate as individuals anywhere in the world, to form our own opinions and everything. Do we actually need centralized politicians? By that, I mean, do we really need to elect national politicians, or can we go more regional? So, like, for example, in the UK, something that's good for the southeast of England, where I come from, is not always the best idea for the northeast. Yet we've got people there. Uh, would it be better to have more regional powers, almost, um, to make decisions more on a local level? And I don't just mean in the UK, I mean globally as well. There's always problems in Italy, Spain, France, even. In Germany, you've got Bavarians do consider themselves different from other Germans. I mean, yes, okay, this is a big global revolution. It probably sounds a little bit WEF with their 15-minute cities and all that. It's probably an expansion on that a little bit. But hey, if we've got the technology to do that, and the regions then can actually communicate with each other far more easily than we've ever been able to do in the past. And I don't just mean nationally or with individual countries, I mean globally as well. So, like, we live in the northeast of Brazil. If the northeast of Brazil produces something the southeast of England want, why can't they make their own decisions this way with their own elected individuals down there? And again, as individuals, you can actually set rules, probably trading rules, international. You've got enough, probably AI capability to actually monitor everything going on. Yes. Um, I mean, yes, if we're going to be talking away, going from a world away from hard currency anyway, um, it could be a natural progression. That way, you wouldn't have people actually vying for complete control of anywhere. Um, you could still keep national identity. I mean, it depends how it is, because you could still have sport governing bodies, for example, and other entities that could keep things running. Decide, yeah. Again, I'm probably more talking about small government and bigger regionalisation. How workable it will be interesting. Having moved to Brazil, where a state is virtually its own country anyway, I can see the merits in it. So I've been thinking about this, and at the moment, we're going through a time when we vote for a national politician or national body of people to represent us. Are we actually getting that anyway? Or are we getting somebody that's subservient to elsewhere, that isn't going to worry about my family living in the southeast of England or your family living in the north of England where you come from? Yeah. So, in effect, giving power back to the people directly. Do you think this would be a good idea or not? Given that we've now progressed as a progressed in societies, and basically probably 2/3 of the world has access to technology in some form or another. Yeah. And it could also then allow us to spread that technology and know-how to other places where, yeah, so like a province in Portugal could actually help a province in Africa expand rather than be between nations. Over to you, Steve.
Well, thank you very much. I think when you talk about uh, a more global government, the global government is not going to think about your family in the southeast of England. They're going to be thinking about how much money they have, and they will be asking for favours from regional governments to disperse this money in their direction. So, making a government even bigger than what it is just a mistake in my view, because it just leads to more and more corruption, and between a fewer number of people, so that the already mega rich will become even more mega rich, and where do you go from there? In terms of needing more localized governance, if it's done correctly, the system is already in place. So, where I live in an apartment block, and in our apartment block we have the condominium, and that governs this apartment block. Outside of the apartment block, in the vicinity, the neighbouring vicinity, they'll have community leaders, and then you go a little bit wider, and then of course you get the councillors, and then you get the mayor's office, and that covers your city basically. Then you've got your state here in Brazil. Then you've got your state governors, and then you've got your federal governors.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And that's another filter. You could actually, in theory, remove the state governors. But like you said, each state is almost like a country in itself. It's so vast here.
Yeah.
And it's so very different than the UK. But however, you've got the state governors. You've got like they have in the States. They have a state governor.
Yeah.
And then you've got the federal governors, the federal Senate, and then you've got the executive committee, the executive at the top.
Yeah.
For each country. In the UK, it's a bit different. We go up into the mayor, then we go to the MPs, then we go to the executive, because England's it's only a small country.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, all of these links, they have to work. They have to work for it to succeed.
Yes.
If you break it, if you break one of the links, then the system's going to break down, and there's going to be an awful lot of complaints. Like nobody's thinking about me. One of the politicians that I really respected back in the day is a lady in a place called Maracaipe, Cabo de Santo Agostinho.
Yeah.
And she was the art and culture secretary of that area. And she basically called the community leaders and said, look, what we've got is this much money. You decide where it's going to be spent. And she left it to the community leaders to decide. And so they started painting big plant pots to put in the streets, and to make the place look more attractive.
Yeah.
They thought that was the thing to do. Nobody could complain if the community leaders went back to the community and got a consensus from the community, and then took it back to her. If the system works, for the system to work, everybody's got to participate.
Yeah.
For having a government that's going to govern the world, you're just adding an extra tier on top of, or an extra couple of tiers, because you'd have one sort of governing body that's going to look after Europe, which
Mm.
we've almost got with
Yeah.
with the EU.
Yes.
You know, we've almost got with the BRICS, although
Yeah.
that's more economic at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, we've almost got with um, the Canada, US, and Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But once again, the EU started as a common market, which
Yeah.
was just the
Yeah. That was it. It's a good idea. Yeah, it's a nice idea. Yeah.
right. So, you know, baby steps, baby steps.
Mm.
Is there an awful lot of fat that can be cut from government? Oh, for sure.
Mm.
Oh, for sure. But this is once again, you've got to go back down to the basic
Yeah.
level, base level with the people, and say, you know, what do you want the money to be spent on,
Mm.
so that nobody can complain.
Yeah.
In terms of how rich you can get, here's one for the books. I believe that a billionaire,
Mm.
a person, can only earn up to 1 billion pounds or dollars or whatever the amount is.
Yeah.
A company can only earn up to a certain amount,
Mm.
and then after that amount, it can't go any higher,
Mm.
and you have to open another company. Instead of one company having a monopoly on
Yeah.
on everything,
Right.
you know, you have one company here that does one thing, and then once it's got to that limit where it's allowed to make a profit,
Yeah.
then they have to have another.
Some.
Breaking the governance down a little bit, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
it's easier to control, I think.
yeah, some companies do that anyway to save from getting too big and wide. Yeah.
But normally they don't. They do the opposite. They buy smaller companies.
Yeah.
To make their company bigger.
Yeah.
They may trade under a different name.
Mm.
It's the same. It's the same
Yeah.
company.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. We'll see that.
That's why you've got your. That's why you've got your Jeff Bezoses and Elon Musk's.
Mm.
You know, it's all it all comes under a huge umbrella.
Oh, yeah,
and
cool, yeah.
I think there should be different umbrellas where their companies can only earn up to a certain limit, and then, you know, because you can only spend so much of $1 billion before you die.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
you can be happy. You can be as happy as
yeah. I mean,
the cat that's just got the cream.
Yeah, I mean,
your whole life.
Yeah.
And you still won't have spent.
Yeah.
Money that some of these people have.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. How much is enough? Have you ever met anyone who's got enough money? Yeah,
and I'm saying that enough should be stipulated. You know, so that you know, just to limit the expense. You can control the economy better that way as well.
Okay. Well, if there's anyone listening of any influence, Steve is available for consultancy work. if you so wish.
And I'm cheap. At least that's what some people have called me.
He doesn't want to earn more. He doesn't want to earn more than $1 billion. So he'll be okay. Yeah.
I'm open to offers.
Yeah. He'll give you his bank account details. You can transfer the money next week.